Hello everyone, I am back. And to update you, a couple of days ago I did the hood for the C6 to C2 conversion. The gel coat got put on too thickly and it caused issues. Strange coincidence, my supplier, it sounds funny, not for my fiberglass, he called me and said, hey, how's everything going? And I told him that I had the pre-release. He goes, yeah, that'll happen if you put the gel coat on too thick. So there you go. Live and learn. I do have the thickness gauge. Let me find that thing. I set it aside. And I probably set it somewhere I can't find it. Nope, here it is. Okay. This is what the thickness gauge looks like. And what it is you put, ideally it's a flat surface that you're dealing with, and these two ends touch that flat surface like so. And then each of these notches is whatever that dimension says. It's in thousandths of an inch or mils. So if I look at this, if this thing's sitting flat and the coating touches right there, it is 20 mils thick. I don't know if you can read that. Oh, it's backwards because I'm doing the thing backwards. Anyway, so that one's 20. If it's right, then it won't touch the 22, and of course it'll touch the 18, 16, and 14 because it's above that. So you look for the first place, you put it down there, it wets it, you lift it up, and the first one that you see that isn't wetted means it's somewhere between the last one that's wetted and the next one that's not wetted. And it's not rocket science, so the difference between 22 and 24, in each case it's 4 mils or 4 thousandths of an inch. That's like a hair or two. Anyway, I should have had him use this because it should have been, 25 mils or 25 thousandths thick, so he would have done it. I didn't have him do it, and there's plenty of flat areas on this. Obviously, if I was doing this curved area over here that you probably can't see, don't know if you can or not, it wouldn't work very well, but as long as you've got a flat area. And the idea was just to give him an idea of this is how thick it should be. If he had done this, I bet this thing's 40 thousandths thick, so he would have seen that's twice as thick as it needs to be, and he could have adjusted. But without that, you really don't know how thick this is. Okay, I don't think he got it as thick on this as he did on the other one. It is thick, you can see, but I don't think it's as thick. And that's only because I accidentally hit this area when I was cleaning up some of the nibs that I talked about before, and this doesn't look like it's that thick. All right, that's number one. So yesterday, I made a pattern for this out of the fiberglass mat of the whole thing. As I thought about it, I thought, you know what? I don't want to fight with this whole thing at once. In the past, I found out 8 square feet is about right for one person mixing the stuff. So I said, I'll just cut it down the middle. So what I did was I took the one pattern that I made for the whole thing, laid it out, and then I added an inch or two in the center. So what that means is each one of these I'll do half here, half there. Now the question is, how big is that area and how much resin should I expect to use? So it doesn't matter. I mean, I usually wing it, but I thought, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do the calculation so I can show everyone how to do it, or tell everyone how to do it. So I measured, and I think it's about 50 inches this way and a little less than 3 feet this way. So I multiplied that out, and it comes out to around 12 square feet. Okay, so that would be 1.5 of the 8 square feet. 8.5 of 8 is 4, so that's 12. But I subtract for this area right here. Okay, that's a little over 1 square feet. So by the time I did all the calculations, it came out to like 10.5 square feet. All right, so what that means is each 2 cups of resin goes for 8 square feet. So 8 and then another little bit, maybe a mixture and a half. So it'd be 3 cups would be about right. All right, so 3 cups here, 3 cups there is 6 cups total. So what I'll do is I will mix up 6 cups worth of resin. Actually, I won't mix up, I will pour out 6 cups of resin. And then I have my squeeze bottle, yeah, over there. And I already know that there's, let me go ahead and do this. All right, this is difficult to read. I'm not sure if you'll be able to read it on the screen, but what happens is it fills up when you squeeze, you put your peroxide in there. In fact, I need to put some in there. And then when you squeeze it, it comes out of this top piece right here, and it fills up this little cup. When you get to the level you want, you stop squeezing, and then when you pour it out, it doesn't come out of the center tube anymore. It comes out of the cup right here. Okay, so if I look at it, right there's the 5 mark. You can see this is made for a whole lot more than I'm mixing at any time. And then there's the 2.5. So to each 2 cups, I mix 5 milliliters or 5 cc's, and I will pour it into each one of those, stir it, and I'll put down my fiberglass. All right, so I've got to fill this up before I do that. I've got to fill those up. I've got several of these. Again, for those of you that haven't seen my videos before, I use these containers, and I use them because the resin doesn't really stick to it. Now, it doesn't completely not stick to it, but you can see that what happened was when I was done, I just grabbed an edge. This whole thing was coated. I grabbed an edge, and it got most of it out. There's a little bit in there. I don't care. It's not going to impact anything. All right, that takes care of that. So some of the, quote, fiberglass experts gave me crap about cutting my patterns. Oh, you shouldn't cut because whatever. Anyway, what they say is tear. Okay, the reason they say to tear it is, I'll show you here. Yep, I want to make sure you can see. Okay, I've got this circular part right here. When I had to cut a relief because I needed to go around the edges, the solid piece, so I needed to go around the edges. Well, it doesn't want to go into the low spots right here. So the solution to that is, and that's why they say to tear it. If I tear it, it breaks up the binder, and so these edges will now conform to that shape, whereas if it's solid, it doesn't want to bend. Okay. So in the case of something like this, yeah, sure, I'll tear it because now I can put this on top of there, and it very easily folds down. All right, so 1, 2, and because I'm going to put 4 layers on this, I'm putting 4 layers on this because I'd rather have it a little bit heavy and sturdy and not have issues in the future than to have it lightweight and have it overly flexible. So I'm going to put 4 layers. So there's 2 right there. I need 2 more, so I'm going to show you how I do that. So I'm going to put this on here and see where the edge is. So I notice this thing's got a triangle right there. Well, if I just get rid of that triangle, I can make it into a circle. Now, when you do this, remember each of these fibers is about, what is that, 1.5 inches, 2 inches, something like that. So don't grab, don't try to be ultra accurate. Let me go ahead and show you. Don't try to be ultra accurate when you're doing this and put your fingers real close together and try to pull. The reason why is I'm grabbing all of the strands that are across there. So what you really want to do is, let's say, let me get a marker. We'll do this a little more accurately than I normally would, just for demonstration's sake. Okay, so if I put this on top of here, then the circle is there we go. Just like that. Not a perfect circle, but again, you'll see why that doesn't really matter. Okay. So I need this part here that's inside of the circle to be solid. I need it to be frayed on the outside edge so that it'll conform. Now, if I want it to be accurate, I would try to do this, and it won't do it because there are strands that are spanning that gap. So what you do is you put, in this case, I pinch my finger and thumb together, and then I grab outside of where those strands are. Now, I could grab way out here, but I know some of the strands are over here, some are over there. So I'll split the difference. I'll say right about there, okay? As I pull, it's only gonna pull strands that are outside, not being pinched by my fingers. So I'll go around, work my way around. And again, this isn't rocket science, okay? Now, I need this center part to be solid, but this outside edge, I don't. So this is the part that's going to bend over, and you can see how much easier this bends over than the other part. Here, I probably should have used a different piece. If this was only one, I would use it, but I'm going to have 4 of them, so a little bit more, a little bit less, doesn't matter. And when I cut that, I cut a pie shape there, and so each one of those pie pieces actually overlap. It's just the very center that doesn't have any support. So again, I'll do the same thing here. I need it somewhere around right there. And again, it's not rocket science. And once you start tearing it, the tear spreads. Even though I'm concentrating right here, it's tearing over here and over here at the same time. Because again, these things are kind of randomly spread out. So I just come along here and do that. Okay, and then same thing here, work my way around. And if you wanted to do more, let's say I decided, oh, I've got too much excess here, I could go back in and tear it. And then this is a solid edge right here and here, so I can come in here and simply break it up. See how I'm doing here? I'm breaking up the binder that's holding that. So now this area is floppy. We'll call it floppy. This area is now floppy. All right, there we go. Now this might be a little long, so I can break it up. I can either get rid of that or I can just break up the binder right here. So I can go around this whole perimeter, break up the binder, and now it will want to, it'll be more likely, to bend right at that edge, because that's what I need. Right at that edge, I need it to bend around that step. All right, that's it. Now I need to do one more, and you can see that there's not enough here. I could use all of these scraps to do this as well. So I could piece all of this together and do the same thing. The disadvantage is that right there would overlap and it would be twice as thick. Again, it doesn't matter to me. Shh, don't tell anyone. So I might do that. Just go ahead and piece together some stuff. Plus the fact that, like I said, those other pieces are going to overlap. This will probably be the strongest part of the entire split window because of all of this overlapping. Okay, so I have all my pieces cut. I'm hoping that it doesn't take very long. I'm going to estimate 2 hours. And since my estimates always suck and they're usually takes twice as long, it's probably going to take a half a day to lay the fiberglass on this. People have suggested getting a gun. They have a fiberglass gun that shoots. I would like to have one of those because of the speed and the ease. The problem is they make a freaking mess. Everyone I know that's used them, when I go into their shop, you walk across the floor and your feet squeak because there's leftover resin all over the floor. I don't want to mess up my shop. So I would rather send it out and have somebody else do it than do it myself. Plus, this is pretty time consuming. A half a day is a lot to me. I'd rather have somebody else spend that half a day and pay them for it. Plus, again, they have the equipment, I don't. I'm trying to think if there's anything, oh, there's something else. That hood that got messed up, I don't think you can see it. There, it looks like the resin went through where the gel coat lifted and actually is on the surface. Let me go ahead and show you because this is going to be the end of this video. There we go. All right, I pulled this off. This area shouldn't be here. All of this stuff shouldn't be here. It's still a little bit tacky, not really tacky, but a little bit. Ideally, this would just come right off. It's not coming right off, which is surprising because this thing got waxed and released and all that. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I wanted to catch this before it hardened too much, because the harder it gets, and you can see, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but there's a white area there. That's letting me know that that's where it's releasing. So I am very relieved this is coming off this easily. I was hoping it would, but this is what the resin looks like if there's no fiberglass in the middle. So it's somewhat flexible, but it really doesn't have any strength. Okay. So that was something I was afraid I was going to have to spend quite a bit of time on. So the answer is, as long as I can get it started, kind of like when I was getting the hood off of here, as long as I found some place to start it, it would peel off from that starting point. So I've got to find a place to start it. You could use something like a razor blade or whatever, but you have to be really careful not to damage the surface of your mold. This is my mold. I don't want to damage it. I don't know why, but maybe someday somebody will insist that they want the floor mat hood scoops on their car. I can't understand why, because I don't like them at all, but hey, I'll do whatever the customer wants. Okay. I believe that's got it. So I just need to mix up some stuff and put down some fiberglass, and hopefully 4 hours from now, I will have this ready. So I was going to do that. I was going to clean up that. Since that won't take long at all to clean up. So the next thing is I'm going to go to, the hood's behind there. So I'm going to go to the hood, put the hood scoop on top of it, and start trimming it so I can figure out how to put those two together to make it one piece. My fiberglass supplier, mentioned that if you get the gel coat too thick and you get a hailstorm, which we have, I think, way more than we should in Texas, but I talked to a guy that does the adjusting for hailstorms, and he said Colorado's just as bad. Anyway, he said the problem is if you get it too thick, that it doesn't have a lot of strength, and it will actually crack from the hail, impact of the hail. If you get it the right thickness, it's not so brittle, and so it will actually, you never hardly ever hear about a Corvette getting damaged from hail unless it's like the baseball sized ones or softball sized ones. But if it's anything less than that, the fiberglass, the hail hits it, the fiberglass just flexes a little bit, the paint or gel coat on top of that flexes a little bit. It goes back to where it should have been without the hail damage. So he warned me, he said, you might have a problem in the future if your hood has that thick gel coat on it and you get in a hailstorm. In my case, it doesn't matter because one, that area, most of it is going to be underneath the scoop, one, and two, I am just using this to make a mold. So what I will do is I will use that piece, I will bond the hood scoop on top of it, cut out the areas where it needs to be cut out, and everything that's underneath the hood scoop basically will never exist after I make the mold. So after I do all that, I'm going to make a mold of the hood with the whole hood scoop molded in. I'll make a mold from that, and neither of those pieces will be used again, the Grand Sport hood nor the C6 hood separately. All right, so the thick gel coat doesn't matter. It can all be fixed or covered up or eliminated. Okay, that's all I've got. Like, subscribe, hit the alert, hit the thanks if you want to donate. And thanks again, Derek, for the $50, I think it's called a super thanks. He suggested I buy a mic, a remote Bluetooth mic, and a drink. And so I literally just ordered the mic this morning. It will be here tomorrow from Amazon. I get everything from Amazon. And the drink is already taken care of. So thanks, Mike, and hopefully viewers will get a better audio than I'm getting right now. If I'm facing like this, then it's fine, but I did notice the other day I was walking around, and when I'm over there working, obviously it doesn't pick up the sound as well. So that will take care of that. In the past, when I was working outside, it was wind noise was really bad and ambient noise was bad. So it will take care of that. But hopefully, I'm not doing a whole lot outside anymore now that I have a shop. All right, thanks again, and I'll see you next time. And if you don't like what I'm doing, you don't know Jack. Bye.